All right. Let me turn the camera on. I'll leave it off. I don't care. So we got, we had events happen yesterday that were puzzling. You had, and it's on Andy Knows thing somewhere down here. A lot of stuff's been going on with Antifa lately, at least in the news. They've been there's been some activity. Interesting stuff. So here's the one, let me get all this set up. What's this over here? Okay. My reserve, let me, bear with me. I'm not sure how this will sound with the mic, but I'm going to leave the desktop audio off, and I'm just going to do it with the mic. So it's like a whole thing. So look at this old guy. He's like, I'm getting out of here. I'm out of here, bro. I'm too old. Oh. So you got the police grabbing a couple Antifa people, making a show out of it. It almost seems rehearsed. They're hitting them. I guess there's some strikes going on with that pole there. You got more camera people there than protesters. She's got a nice ass, that little black girl. Yeah, I would hit that. Look at that ponytail. How are you gonna be how are you gonna have a ponytail like that in a riot? Hey, ask me this. How does that work? I'll give her. Hey, that's kind of badass. So this was yesterday. That was in Boston, and apparently, supposedly, it was Antifa. Of course, Antifa would always deny they were ever there. Apparently, but they were. It doesn't matter because most of the Antifa people in the United States are just kids that are calling themselves Antifa, and they go on the website. This website. Let's see if I can find it. Yeah, see, I put it. Thank God I made a folder to put all this shit. So it's this is cool. So this is supposedly the Antifa, the corporate Antifa website. Very professional. A lot of money must have been put into this. Donate. I wonder how many people are donating to that. So it's going down, and oh God, there's stuff going on everywhere, isn't there? According to them. So this is the thing, though. In Boston the other night, so you can see they're upset, like Antifa, fascist wing, anti-vax cops. The cops and their anti-vax. I'm just curious so for the anarcho-communists out there, because I have respect for the anarcho-communists, and I'm a fan of Peter Kropotkin, and I've read into all that stuff. I used to read all the critical theory stuff and all the Marxist stuff. I've read all that stuff, and I've read a lot of stuff. I had a phase where I just, at different phases in my life, I just read a lot. And I read a lot of this stuff, after I got out of the military, and I was still firmly on the left. And I just want to ask a question. So to say to the anarcho-communists, I want to ask a question. Now, not to say that you don't necessarily have to be anarcho-communist to be Antifa. Obviously, there's a lot more to it than that. But to the anarcho-communists, I would like to ask, since when are you going to be pro-vaccine mandate from a imperialist capitalist government? Hey, I'm just curious. But I can understand how, so it's possible that none of these, whoever is behind this protest here, where the counter protesters are supposedly Antifa, or people that are calling themselves Antifa. You don't necessarily have to be a narco-communist. I mean, I would listen. I've hung with anarcho and a real anarch. Look, I like anarchists. I consider myself an anarchist, but I'm not. It's not squaring this whole thing and this whole thing. The now I already lost it. It's going down. Let me get it here. Yeah, I'm gonna keep this on my favorites anyway. So why is anti-vax a problem? So the real reason it's a problem is because, as I just said, not everybody in Antifa is anarcho-communist. Some of them aren't even anti-fascist. There are some just anti-fascist or quote anti-racist sort of cultish ideologies involved in it. Anarcho-communist, I would say, is very legit, and I love it. I respect it. And then this anti-fascist thing makes no sense, and because while being anti-fascist, they support vaccine mandates from an imperialist, capitalist, corporatist government. And they take donations from corporations, by the way. And they work with imperialist, capitalist, intelligence agencies from imperialist, capitalist governments, such as German intelligence, the BFD. So this is the Breitbart article, and I'm not a Breitbart fan, but this checks out. So we have, where's the German report? According to Die Welt. Okay, so Die Welt. Okay. I don't know what this is. See, my German's terrible, but I did read through this article, and you can translate it. I don't know what the fuck this shit is. Okay, Impression, Fact. Now I don't want to see any fact. Einstellung, allen. Oh, okay, that one. Alle. So here we go. So this is a Die Welt article where, the German intelligence admits that they're spying on some populist movement. They're right wing and scary right wingers and all this. And I'm not a fan of most of the right wing organization. I mean, I'm not a fan of really any right wing organization. I'm a fan of purely libertarian organizations or anarchist organizations like Anarcho-Communists. But here we have. I was reading it. My German's not great, so I can't really follow, but I was reading it myself. And you can translate any of these articles anyway. I think you can just right-click on it. Translate to English, and it'll be close. So, we have German intelligence has admitted here, the German intelligence admitted they infiltrated this organization. That's from Die Welt. And somewhere here they say that they had one of these other pages that said that they had infiltrated Antifa, and a lot of their sources, maybe it was another one, let's see. German intelligence used Antifa research. So the Süddeutsche Zeitung. So this is Süddeutsche Zeitung, which is a mainstream newspaper, but a little more right-wing. This is like the Fox News of Germany. We're getting there. Well, I would say it's more like Fox News of Germany. And even that, for German standards, Fox News is way to the right of anything that would be allowed to exist in Germany legally. Germany has no freedom of speech. So then we have here, and we can translate this to English so everybody can see it. So Constitutional Protectors is the name of by the way, the German intelligence agency, kind of literally translated. Talk about some newspeak. So they had a report on the right-wing organization that they infiltrated, and they admitted that they had used Antifa sources. So in other words, if you know anything about covert ops, and I'm not going to get deep into it, but I have a little bit of experience and a lot of research into this, but a little bit of some personal experience. My dad was a covert ops guy in the United States. So what I can tell you, and I just picked up what I did there, growing up with him and loving him and missing him very much since he died very early as a result of his service to this country. I would say that the little I picked up, and I'm just much more aware of this stuff, and I've been able to research it very well. So the German government admitted that they had essentially people on the payroll in Antifa in Germany. So to add to the list of people influencing Antifa across the world would be German intelligence, and then we can connect the final dot to this whole puzzle. Okay, we're gonna make this a very concise article. Let's see. Did I ever get this one? I may not have. So the CIA. So let's just do I don't even have to pull anything up. I did pull something up earlier on this. The CIA helped. Well, basically, the German intelligence service is just like a progeny of the CIA, and some of the early members of German intelligence were actually Nazi intelligence, and the CIA pardoned some of them and glossed over some of their war crimes in order to make sure that they can be useful in the new Germany, the new anti-communist, anti-Soviet Union Germany that emerged after the Second World War. So we can say that now people talk about the Five Eyes. So when you hear about the Five Eyes, that's a real thing that's been documented in official documents that have been leaked or declassified. And the Five Eyes, I think accidentally declassified was a couple, but I'd have to, look, take everything I say that I can't show you a document for with a grain of salt, but just you can fact check me on any of that. But so there's this relationship, the Five Eyes, 5 intelligence agencies. One of them is Britain, France, Germany, United States, and probably Israel would be 5. But I don't know. I know France. I know Britain, Germany, United States, I believe France, and probably Israel are the Five Eyes intelligence agencies. There's other ones. My dad worked a lot with Jordanian intelligence, and they were a big deal going back into the Lebanese Civil War, but it's a different story for a different day. And so we have a direct connection between the CIA and Antifa. And so I'm not saying those connections are especially deep or especially, a lot of the, especially deep. I'm not saying those are especially deep connections, but I am saying that the CIA is a very good force multiplier, just like my dad was part of force multiplier groups. And their ability to use disinformation to manipulate people is second to none. I mean, that's really, when you talk about intelligence agencies, especially the big ones like KGB, CIA, and, BFD is another one, but they're kind of, I don't know, the KGB and the CIA are two big ones. I'm sure Chinese intelligence is pretty badass itself. And when you consider what they deal in, so you always think of intelligence as being the main thing. In fact, intelligence agencies like the CIA and KGB deal in secrets, in the marketplace of secrets, and they deal in lies. And so in addition to uncovering into learning secrets, their second important mission is to keep secrets. And their third important mission is to propagate lies. And that's the goal of every intelligence agency. So people within the CIA, now I'm not sure how great the CIA is nowadays. I don't really know much about them these days. I think like the rest of America, they've probably degenerated and they probably degenerated somewhat from what they were in the 90s. But I would still imagine that they would be able to manipulate Antifa, even through German intelligence or with the cooperation of German intelligence, which is obviously already infiltrated and is influencing Antifa. Because, see, no intelligence agency just infiltrates an organization just to collect intelligence. They also tend to want to use their infiltrated operatives to manipulate those organizations if they are in any way powerful or advantageous in any way to manipulate them. So this is the connection I'm making here, is that you have Antifa upset about vaccine mandates. So we all know that the vaccine mandates are a money laundering scheme for political cronies in the pharmaceutical industry. And we know that the CIA exists to maintain the status quo, the corporate fascist status quo. And they've infiltrated the anti-fascists in order to further the cause of fascism. Because fascism could also be called, let me do a quote here. Let's do a quote. This is great. I'm going to end with this quote. Facebook tried to block this one time. They tried to say this is not appropriate, but then I got it appealed and I won. I mean, well, I didn't win. The guy who finally, because I think initially it was blocked due to algorithm, and then I just made a little bitching fit out of it and used my oratory, my writing skills. So let's look up Mussolini, fascism, corporatism. So this is what's great about this whole ironic situation, is that we have an anti-fascist group, not only funded by corporations. I didn't get to there's all the, look, all you have to do is a little research and you see all the major donations coming from different think tanks and NGOs, and all of these fake nonprofits created to launder money go into Antifa. If you know, it takes a lot of doing to really trace this around, but you'll find everybody talks about Soros, but you know, every time I hear the word Soros, I kind of like let my eyes glaze over. It's like, okay, Soros. I think there's much more to it than Soros. You have major investment banks, you know, sponsoring NPR, for example, which has connections to Antifa, because Antifa is in the government somewhat. So whenever the CIA or intelligence agencies infiltrate something, you have accounts, usually have like a spillover from that organization into the government. Just think about that. But Mussolini on the corporate state. Yeah, here we go. This is great. So here we have the anti-fascists infiltrated by a corporate neoliberal oligarchy. Well, by the intelligence. So here we have a anti-fascist group. Now, the Anarcho-Communists, I'm going to leave them out of this because I know that the pure Anarcho-Communists, I love those people, and we can come and have a beer. I love these people. But they're, I think, a minority of the people now that are actually in there. They're not, I think that we have so many nihilistic kids. So we have so many nihilistic kids who have had their future stolen from them by the boomers. And these nihilistic kids are latching on to, they think they're anarcho-communists. They've never read Kropotkin. But then now they're getting away from that and they're saying, no, we're just anti-fascists. Not that being anti-fascist actually means anything. It can mean whatever they want to mean as long as they get to go and fuck shit up. Or anti-racist. As long as you have somebody to beat up, you can call them racist, you can beat them up. These are nihilistic kids. They are anarchists in a sense, I have to say. They're anarchists in the sense that they have no common sense, but they don't need it. They're just angry because the boomers stole their future from them. So, more Mussolini on the corporate state. Fascism should more properly be called corporatism because it is the merger of state and corporate power. That's exactly what's happened in the United States. We actually live under fascism right now. And the anti-fascists, some of them, without even knowing it, I'm sure, are working for the fascists. How do I know that? Because they are not only here showing up to an event and counter-protesting versus vaccine mandate people. It's not anti-racist. We have black people here on the Patriot side, anti-vax side. These are anti-fascists fighting against black people. No, they're not here to be anti-fascist. They may think they're here to be anti-fascist because a lot of them are homeless and drug addicts, and some of them are just nihilistic kids, and a lot of them are fucked up. Something's going on. They are anarchists in the sense that there's no rhyme or reason to what they do, but they're not political or ideological anarchists because they believe in, right now, they're fighting for government power. Not only are they fighting for government power, but they're fighting for corporate power, the pharmaceutical companies. That's why we have these vaccine mandates in the first place. And I'm not the only one saying that. It pains me to see so many Americans taken by the fear-mongering and the propaganda. It really pains me. They'll figure it out, just like they're figuring it out now with Russiagate 4 years after the fact, 5 years after the fact. They're figuring out that they got played. They'll figure out eventually that after just finding out that that $2 trillion of their grandchildren's money was stolen from them in the form of an endless war in Afghanistan, just after finding that out, another, let's say, 500 billion or so before all is said and done is being funneled to the pharmaceutical companies. That's their grandchildren's money. They'll figure it out maybe 2 years from now, if it matters by then. And then we have these useful idiots here, anti-fascists, who are actually wherever they're at. Let's look at this again. Did I watch this yet? Let's look at this again. Here they are. I don't know. We got people fighting, and some of them think they're anti-fascist. But they're not. Excuse me. They're not anti-fascist. Not only are they not anti-fascist, but, you know, the person who wrote this article can't be anti-fascist. How could he be? He's fighting right now. He's upset about corporate and government power. This is the merger. And the vax mandates are the merger of corporation and state. So to all my anarcho-communist peeps out there who like Peter Kropotkin, I'm with you. This is bullshit. And whoever wrote this, was this written by bona fide anti-fascist, or was it written by some sort of government paid informant or infiltrated, maybe a turncoat, a double agent? Or was it written by just this could be written by some Joe Schmo, some CIA analyst in some basement in Langley, Virginia. So that's my point today. I think I've made it, and I didn't ramble too much. That's great. So I am out.